Hey guys, welcome to Cancel This. April 20th, 420, also known as Weed Day, Marijuana Day. We're going to get into that coming up. I'm Vic Faust, Tabitha Hassel here, Eric Johnson en route, Scotty Gherkin on the boards, Lizzie Sparks running the social media for us and all the chats. Glad you're jumping in today on this Thursday. Coming up, we are going to have an interview with Tom Bommarito from Greenlight Marijuana inside a store. Oh, that's right. We'll be talking with some bud tenders. We'll be teaching you. We'll all be learning on this 420 day as we talk about that. I want to get to the bottom of the real reason why it's called 420. I've seen about 4, 5, 6 different reasons. Maybe Scotty knows.
All I know is it's my wife's birthday. So
oh, happy birthday to Marla.
The original hippie herself.
You know what? That is so appropriate.
It really is.
Is it all right if I say whose birthday she shares it with if it's not such a great person in the history of our world?
Oh, she knows. Yeah.
Oh, she does.
Yeah, it's Hitler's birthday.
Yeah, it's
right?
Adolf Hitler's birthday as well.
Yeah.
Or it would have been.
Yep.
She's so sweet.
He's right where he needs to be. Anyway. Exactly. Anyway, it is a day that we are packed again. All right. Coming up in about 15 minutes. This is going to blow your freaking mind.
Boom.
What is happening with the mortgage industry? That's right. The redistribution of wealth, AKA Marxism and socialism and communism, all wrapped into one. We've been talking about a lot of stories, but guess what starts May 1st? That's right. Good credit mortgage not lenders, but borrowers. You're going to be paying for people who don't have good credit. Just wait. This is a fact, and it's absolutely going to blow your mind if you haven't seen about it yet. We'll be talking with the expert Steve Strick. He'll be joining us quickly for that. Coming up at 8:30, our marketing director, we've got Alex McCarthy coming on to explain what the hell NFTs are, why you should care, how it affects pricing, even gas, which blew my mind, Tabitha, the price of gas. That's all coming up. Then at 9 o'clock, we have the interview inside Greenlight, one of their marijuana stores, to focus on 420. And also today, we've talked about it. Why the hell are military-aged men, Chinese military-aged men, lining up at the border, coming into the country? And all this while we're being told by our administration, including as recent as yesterday, that the border is safe. I think we realize now you can't trust world media. You can't trust the national headlines. You can't trust the administration, the worst one in the history of the country so far. Prove to us that we're wrong, and we'll change that because we have too much evidence. It's all coming up. But first, we're going to get into a look at our partners, our advertising partners, and more coming on the way. And we'll be doing some cool things with them. But if you need any of their products, check them out. Let them know if you call that you heard about them on canceltheshow.com.
This is Dr. Mahesh Bhagway. I'm an orthopedic surgeon here in St. Louis for over the last 20 years. I went to Washington University. I got my medical degree at St. Louis University. From local high school athletes, college athletes, weekend warriors, injured workers, and even Cardinal baseball players, I've treated them all. Our practice strives to personalize care with every new patient being seen by me. To find me, contact my staff at drbagwe.com. That's DRBAGWE.com. Hopefully you don't need me, but if you do, you can find me now.
White Glove Exotic Services is St. Louis's first concierge vehicle service center. Alex David's team is passionate, certified technicians. They have industry-leading tools and equipment. They do it all. They pick up and deliver your car, hands-free. Plus, they have elite detailing service, customized PPF wraps and tinting, and inspection and titling assistance. White Glove also specializes in logistics and storing options, vehicle listings, and consignment. White Glove Exotic Services. Check them out at cancelthisshow.com.
Marco, wait. What, no response? Hi, I'm Curtis Sparks with Complete Auto Body and Repair, offering full service and auto repair to St. Louis and St. Charles. We are looking for someone to say polo. That's right, we are hiring. We want you now. If you would like to work in a well-paying environment, then you owe it to yourself to stop by one of our 6 Complete Auto Body and Repair locations. Will you help me find that missing person? Please call me directly at 636-488-HIRE. That's right, 636-488-4473.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
He fixes cars.
Carroll House has the largest selection of solid wood with the hottest new styles. Real furniture that's built to last, like our solid bedrooms, living rooms, and dining from Kincaid. Our volume enables us to save you a lot of money, especially during solid wood sale. Plus, get free financing, fast free delivery, and free in-home design. So for solid wood, sweet styles, and solid service since 1964, shop over 3 football fields of furniture at Carroll House, because you like nice things.
Hey guys, welcome back in to the show. This is cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust, Tab of the Hassle here. Eric Johnson en route today. We've got Lizzie Sparks running the chat line for us as always, plus Scotty Gherkin running the board to make sure we look and sound as good as we can. By the way, we are live 8 to 10, Monday through Friday, Central Time. But you can also catch us anytime at cancelthisshow.com. All of our original content there. And we're grateful for the ever-growing show that we continue to put together on a daily basis. If you guys have ideas on anything, news headlines, politics, society, or cancel culture, and cancel culture interviews, just let us know. We'll jump into it as much as we can. We're starting to book up the shows weeks in advance, and that's exactly what we want to do. And you can always go check out our partners on our page as well if you just saw the commercials. Special thanks to our show sponsor, Complete Auto Body and Repair. Complete Auto Body and Repair, 6 locations throughout the St. Louis area, climate-controlled conditions for all the techs to work. They're looking for technicians, won't get paid any better or work in a better environment. Give the people a call. Our friend Curtis Sparks over at Complete Auto Body and Repair, and it is the season for Renewal by Anderson when it comes to the energy-saving windows. Don't get lost in the shuffle. Give them a call. You'll be shocked at how much you can save. Renewal by Anderson are good friends over there. Nobody comes close to what they do. You can go to our website, cancelthisshow.com, click on the partners page, and you can click for a free quote. You can also give them a call. You don't even have to put a lot of time into it. We showed pictures of the owner of Strategic Air Services, where we broadcast live out of what they did with their house. Several people that we know using Renewal by Anderson. And by the way, if you use our sponsors and advertisers, of course, it helps us as well. All right, it is 4:20. We're talking marijuana coming up at 9 o'clock. But Scotty, you seriously have zero idea why they call this day 420.
I got to be honest, I don't.
I had to go.
I always just knew it was a weed reference. I used to have a 420 light in my room when I was a kid.
Oh, and you didn't even know.
I guess I wasn't a kid. I was, 18, whatever. It was a little 420 bubble light thing. It was kind of cool.
I'm not sure that Steve Strick will know either. We're going to talk with Steve, our mortgage expert, in about 5 minutes.
Wake and bake, Steve. It's 420.
From the comment line, of course, Peter George says 420, smoke them if you got them, or you can celebrate it in different ways as well now, as we got going on. You got gummies now. You don't have to smoke a gummy. Of course, we know that. Steve Strick, by the way, he's the vice president of New American Funding. He'll be coming up with us. Alexander McCarthy says the popo. Okay, whatever. It is interesting because I started to look up what 420 is or how it started. And then I got into kids used to smoke at 420 every day in California. And they started to call the 420 got associated with marijuana. I've heard that police
that makes sense.
Heard that that's a police code 420 for marijuana as well. I don't know. Everybody's got their. I just learned about 420 last year when one of our loyal listeners, Cindy, came into our old radio station and bought me a green 420 tie that she wanted me to wear on the news when I was in local news. I was like, I'm not sure that's going to work.
Don't you wish now you would have done it?
Did it have pot leaves on it?
No, it didn't, but that would have been great. It would be apropos for now, that's for sure.
That would have been perfect.
So If anybody can let us know today what's going on from that standpoint as well. Also very interesting as we were promoting a story later in the show. Oh, yeah. Interesting how video gets scrubbed all over the place.
Yes.
We had fascinating video. Tabitha's looking for it.
I found another one and sent it to Scotty already.
And it is the video?
It's not the same video, but this one's actually maybe a better video because it talks about how it's actually a video that talks about how over our southern border, the crossing of Chinese men of fighting age from China has increased by 900%. 900%.
Yeah, well, one of the videos, it's interesting that I had sent Scott, just so everybody understands, disappeared. It's video gets scrubbed. Who's scrubbing it? Why are they scrubbing it? Because it's controversial? Because it showed hundreds of Chinese military-age men standing at the Mexican border to get into the United States. Think about that. What the hell's going on from that standpoint?
Oh, I think we know.
We'll jump in that 9 o'clock hour. Some also information yesterday coming out, Capitol Hill, regarding cupcakes. And now the director of the CDC, Rachel Walensky, admitting that when she told America that cupcakes would keep you free of transmitting COVID, that it was not true. And now it's actually out there. So, yep, it's out there. We'll try to get into that during the 9 o'clock hour as well. Okay. As we wait for Steve, we'll tell you this. Okay, there's a mortgage program that has now begun with Joe Biden. And nobody knew about this. I had no idea that this was even out there. And if you guys haven't had a chance to look at it, Joe Biden has a rule that's supposed to begin May 1st, which will redistribute high-risk loan costs to homeowners with good credit. Interest rates for mortgages have roughly doubled over the past year. And now Joe Biden says that if you have worked hard to get good credit, you're going to pick up extra money on your mortgage per month to help people who don't have good credit.
Just like everything else the Biden administration has done, it's all leading us into socialism, into communism, where everyone is equal. Just like how they got rid of honors classes in schools. You can no longer have extra credit for things to get ahead because that's not fair to the other people. You can't have good credit anymore, Eric, and I know you have perfect credit.
I do.
And now you're going to your perfect credit is going to have to pay for someone else who has lesser credit.
All I know is I'm stoned right now.
I was wondering. You came in with those dark glasses.
Lit like a bitch.
It is 4:20.
Welcome, Waldos. Do you know what the Waldos are?
That's what I was just
I was
getting
wondering
into.
why the shades were playing a part today.
Yeah.
The Waldos are the group of high school kids that I was referring to.
That's right. Back in the 80s or 70s.
In California in the 70s, they would smoke weed at 4:20 every day outside of the wall.
I bet Eric knows what it means. You kind of look like a white Flavor Flav today.
That's racist.
You just need a big clock around your neck.
You need a clock. You just need a clock.
Yeah, no. Yeah, Joe Biden. He's as high as anybody else, man.
God. I mean,
He's as high as anybody.
He's higher.
He needs to do something.
Hey, real quick, you're a musician.
Yeah.
You were into our big time.
I hate being over the hill like this, Scotty. Anyway, go ahead. Yes, I was. What?
Let me continue on because you're the man. You're the man.
I remember the days. Anyway, go ahead.
Traveling worldwide, bassist. Did you like Vanilla Ice?
No, nobody liked Vanilla Ice. Come on, man. What's wrong with you?
Even I didn't like Vanilla Ice.
You weren't listening to Skid Row and Vanilla Ice in the same
I guarantee
iPod,
Scotty
that's for
liked
sure.
Vanilla Ice.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
Sure he did.
Yes, he did.
You know what? I actually liked early rap stuff, and I started to like kind of like, no, this is too
Well, I got-
processed.
process.
Yeah, it was just too much.
I just got so pissed off at him when he stole the whole Queen, thing with Under Pressure. I was like,
His went dun 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 dun.
oh
dun, dun.
God, I
That was
know.
the dumbest song ever. Dumb. It was just dumb.
He was one of the original theft makers of rap. I mean, I know that he was one of the original stealers of loops. And
But
whatnot.
as Lizzie says, Ice Ice Baby. But when he brought it, didn't it go number one?
I think so.
That it was
I
such a
think so.
popular song. But I don't mean to.
all kinds of stupid stuff goes.
So
down
was
the
Milli Vanilli.
Yeah.
I digress.
That's true.
I digress.
He's no Sugar Hill Gang.
Oh my God.
Wow.
What the hell is happening in here?
He's no too short, baby.
Too short, but no, Ice Tea is kicking it.
It's 420 day. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
All right.
We'll be talking with Greenlight coming up a little bit later on the show.
Yeah.
Okay, this mortgage industry, the situation that we have going on, as we were just talking about. On average, what's going to happen is experts, and we're going to talk with Steve Strick as soon as he comes in with us here.
Okay, first of all, before you go any farther, I need to know, is this just the FHA people? Because I can't imagine you going to your community bank and saying, oh, Eric or Tabitha with a 790 credit score, congratulations, you get to pay an additional fee every month for this great credit score. That's got to be only... I can't imagine the government going into Community Federal and saying you have to do this.
Steve will have to tell us. Who would have ever thought that the government would have told schools that if they don't accommodate trans kids or allow boys and girls bathrooms and boys and girls locker rooms, that they would lose their Title IX funding? But yet, here we are. Nothing is shocking anymore, Eric. Nothing.
Well, no doubt about that.
Nothing
is shocking anymore. But
so here's the thing, Eric. Experts believe that borrowers with a credit score of at least 680, not even 700.
It's not even that great.
680 would pay around $40 extra per month on a $400,000 mortgage under the rules from the Federal Housing Finance Agency. This goes into effect in just a couple of weeks.
So $600 bucks a year.
Freaking first.
600 bones a year.
Yeah.
600
to help
bones
somebody
a year.
out who doesn't have as good of a credit score.
That is redistribution of wealth.
Well, of course it is. Everything that's going on in this country right now is about redistribution of wealth. That was the number one program they implemented when Trump stepped out of the seat, is they started redistributing wealth. It started during COVID. It continues on. And like I said, everything is geared to equalization. They want us all to be on the same level. So anymore, capitalism.
Oh, dude, I'm not down.
They don't
for
want
that.
capitalism to pay off.
I'm not down for that. There's in the world we live in, there's something noble. There's something noble. That's the word of the day, of picking yourself up, going to college, getting an education, maybe getting a job, maybe getting a family, and striving to have that 710 credit score with a down payment to get a house and not sponging off the backs of others. There's something not noble about not being able to do that, or not figuring out, or sponging and know that you're sponging off of someone else. Walking into a mortgage company and say, yeah, I got a 510 credit. Big deal. There's someone in Ladue that's going to pay my mortgage for me, or whatever.
And that's pretty much
that's the
correct,
scenario.
it
So
sounds like.
see a dumbass like Drew Collins on this chat line saying, hey, that's fantastic. No, man. What's wrong with you? What country do you live in? I mean, this is not Venezuela yet. You really got to protect this stuff. You have to sit down and say, what kind of a country do I really want to live in? I'll tell you something that happened yesterday. Kennedy, the boy, Kennedy, Robert Kennedy just announced he's running for president.
Yeah.
He's a Democrat. He's a 1960s Democrat. This is the guy I've been talking about every time I come on this show.
He's not a conservative.
The blue collar Democrat, and he's much more conservative than his brother Teddy even. So he's kind of not Republican. He's definitely not Republican. He's definitely not Republican, but he's not
very Democrat.
But he's not
like us.
He's not socialist AOC Democrat either. So I think he's this weird little middle lane that the Bill Maher's of the world talk about. But he's, I think that people are going to stand up and take notice on this. I think they were trying to slip this little mortgage bill in the dead of night. Boom, it just appears. It's like, what is this fee on my mortgage? And it was going to be 2 years later before anyone understood what it was.
They'll send out a little leaflet in your mortgage statement that no one looks at, and you won't even know what's going on. But I'll tell you what, go out and you can check this for yourself. Go out to Bank of America's website and look at home lending. Bank of America has a program where they will lend money to certain Americans. If you fit a certain criteria, you don't have to provide documentation to get a loan. And it can be a business loan or a mortgage. There are other programs out there.
Good luck with that.
If you're a certain type of American, you can get up to, I think it's $17,500, something along those lines, in down payment assistance.
Look at Drew. He says, "I told you guys." It's time
Who
to pay
cares?
us."
Screw.
I'm not
Don't
one
even
of,
bring up his name.
Hey, Drew, I'm not one of those guys on the show that doesn't want to talk about you. I look at you and I see you and I think of you as a sad dude. But for you to say things like that just kind of demonstrates you don't know what cause and effect are. You don't know the consequences of the things that you talk about. And I feel sorry for guys like you. I really do. Because what you're doing is you're destroying one of the best countries on the planet. And every day that we come in here and there's this bogus garbage that we talk about, I would love to have 100 of these guys on here and explain to us how this country looks in another 10 years, 5 years. So when these guys say don't bring up Drew Collins, I'm not in that camp, Drew. I will bring your name up.
It's anyone that voted Democrat. Because Vic, one time you mentioned to me, do I dislike all Democrats? I don't dislike Democrats, but I will tell
this
you
Robert Kennedy you would talk to him, wouldn't you?
Well, my point is if you voted Democrat, if you voted for Joe Biden, you are the problem. You are part of the problem.
Well,
you are what caused all of this to happen.
Well, we're talking specifically about the loans, and we bring in Steve Strick, our good friend, who's coming in now from Vice President, New American Lending. Steve, this whole situation that we've got going on right now, it blows my mind. It pisses me off that this is all supposed to start. You're the Vice President of New American Funding. You see what Biden is trying to do May 1st. Is this a done deal?
It's a done deal. Yeah, it's a done deal. And actually, here's the thing. So Biden did it indirectly, right? So the FHFA, Federal Housing Finance Agency, they're the people that determine this, right? But who actually puts the director of the FHFA in place is the president. Mm-hmm. So in 2021, you'll realize that a lot of these directors that have that position go with the agenda of who's in office at that time. So she was put into place in 2021, and this bill actually was passed. I believe I got notice of it in January of 2022. 2023, earlier this year. So I've known about it for a little while. It's just going live on May 1st.
And does this affect every state? Because it's federal. So
it does. So it affects any loans that are backed by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac.
Okay, so
that is majority of the loans in the country.
Gosh, that's crazy.
Wait a minute. So let's say a family of 4, they buy a house and they're into their 3rd house and they don't need Fannie Mae anymore. And I don't know if you do need it or don't need it. But let's say you put your 20% down on the house you want to buy. You're going through your mortgage company. Do you even touch that federal program anymore, or is it just people that are looking to get FHA loans?
So this has nothing to do with FHA.
Nothing
this is
to do.
Conventional product, right? So this is majority of the loans that are being put into place throughout the entire country, and I have a major issue with it. I don't think it's a good idea. What you're doing is you're penalizing people that have worked so hard to build credit, and these they're called LLPAs, right? So these are the adjustments that are being put into place. It's a mortgage acronym. Don't worry about it. It's a loan level pricing adjustment. LLPAs have been in place for a very long time, but they haven't been changed like this since, I believe, 2010 when we came out of the crash. I think that was the last time they kind of changed it. But what it did is anybody with a lower credit score, a lower down payment, usually had to pay a little bit more for that particular interest rate. It makes sense, right? Now, it's not a fee, but it's built into your interest rate. So the fee actually goes to the lender. The lender then passes that through to the consumer. So if you had a 656 credit score and you're trying to get a conventional loan, you're going to pay a little bit higher interest rate.
Yeah.
I personally agree with that to majority of it. And the reason I say that is because I've got a quick story. I got in the mortgage business back in 2011, and my car died the second week I was going to work.
Yeah.
I didn't pay my student loans in 2009 and 10 because the economy crashed. So I went to the car dealer. They couldn't approve me. This is a true story.
Okay.
My credit was in the low 500s.
Yep.
And I was pissed. I was like, you know what? Why don't I get a loan? One of those people. And guess what? I didn't deserve a loan. I wasn't paying my bills. I wasn't responsible. So since that time moving forward, I realized how important credit was.
Yes.
But also be responsible and pay your bills. So this is literally taking those LLPAs that were a little bit higher for the people that had lower credit scores, and it's flattening them pretty much across the board.
Well, so how does this go on? So if do we all wait it out for 2 years that don't want to pay an additional $600 a year for a $400,000 loan? Or, because is there a chance that a new administration comes and said, this is ridiculous, this is out of here? How does this work?
It could, somebody could come in and do that, but you can't rely on that. Now, you're not paying this fee up front. So the consumer's not saying, hey, you know what, you've got to pay, since you've got a 780 credit score, it would have cost you $0 before. Now it's going to cost you an extra $400 a year. That's not paid at the front end of it. It's paid in your interest rate.
Right.
So with margins being as low as they've ever been on the back end of the banking industry, I can tell you right now that the banks aren't going to eat those fees. Those will be passed along to the consumer.
Is this for only new loans, or is this going to go back retroactively?
Right. It's not retroactive.
New loans.
Yeah.
So why am I only hearing about this today, 2 days before it's supposed to?
Yeah, Eric, I saw it. I was like,
so where are the realtors and the mortgage guys and our state officials not raising Cain about brand new, quote unquote, non-tax taxes or whatever this is called? Why wasn't there an uproar of the people who should have been protecting us the whole time?
There was.
Well, why did
there was an uproar about this when they started to try and pass it? The Republican side, whether it's Democrat, Republican, party agnostic, doesn't matter. It's not a good policy.
No, we almost have to know now what party did this.
No, but Eric, Eric, the media doesn't cover the uproar. That's why they need people like us to do this when we find out.
You'll never hear this on your local news. Gee, you're going to your interest rate so we can bring socialism in.
My God, but it's like they're releasing the murder hornets, and we knew about it for a year, but we only found out about it the day they were releasing the murder hornets. It's kind of bizarre to me, man.
All the things you don't even know about that have happened that you're paying for, and you don't even know you're paying for.
So how do we fix this? Well, let's get started.
The only way to fix it is to put a new plan in place. And I think that's a new administration is going to have to be put in place for that to happen.
So what is do I walk into your office now and try to chisel my credit score down to a 510 so you can really help me?
See, that's the thing is these LLPAs, they used to go in, or they went into effect. It's basically every 20 points of your credit score. So if you had a 680 to a 699, you might have been penalized more than the guy that had a 700 to a 719. And then 722 is 739. And back in, today's world, 740 is looked at as perfect, right? Above 740. They're now putting penalties in place for people that have 760s and 780s.
No.
Oh, I see. So not if you're that high, then you don't get the penalty?
No, you do.
Oh,
that's
you
the
do.
thing. There was no penalty prior to this.
I see.
But now they're taking, so let's just say that the fee for somebody with a 6.8, I'm just using numbers. So whoever's on the chat can go ahead and blow me up, but I'm just throwing this out there. Let's just say that the fee for somebody to get a conventional mortgage that was backed by Fannie or Freddie built into their rate might have been 2.5% cost of the loan amount, right? So if it was a $100,000 loan, $2,500. But that would be built into the rate, so they wouldn't pay it. Well, now instead of that person with the 665 score paying the 2.5%, maybe they only pay 1.25. But now the person with the 740, 760 score pays the 1.25 as well.
That is literally called socialism. I mean, it literally is called socialism. When you get money from the wealthy and you give it to the poor, that's exactly what it is.
Well, where's the backlash going to come from in all this? Is it going to be people not buying houses? Because, I mean, $40 isn't going to keep someone from not buying a house.
Well, $40 a month, $600 a year.
It adds up. It
does add up. But where's the backlash going to come from? Or did the government just succeed?
Great question.
Did they just succeed in sneaking this thing in?
There won't be any backlash.
There's not any backlash.
Yeah, I don't think so. It's one of those things where what they're trying to do is they're trying to make the lending a little bit more lenient for people. The only way that this would become a big issue is if there are more defaults. I don't think that this policy is going to get as many people in there with lower credit scores. It's going to cause a lot of defaults in the market, but it just shows that you're penalizing the people that are being responsible. And it goes against everything that we believe in.
Yeah, it's more the ideology. It's not so much the money to me. It's the ideology and how all of this stuff keeps packing up on top of each
But it's
other.
just one
And
of
you know
many,
what?
one of many
This
policies.
government is just stone cold assassin killers on being able to launch this stuff right under our noses.
Well-
I didn't know anything about this until yesterday.
Well, you can literally go out and read every single bill that they're trying to
Have fun with
pass.
that. You have fun with
it's
that.
Time, it's
How
time
legit-
consuming
yeah,
to do that.
That's not going to happen.
I don't do it. It's
I'm
time
pissed.
consuming.
I'm pissed because our government thinks that we need to redistribute wealth in this country. I'm just beside myself.
Well, and look, I'm sure Steve knows that there are programs in this country in which if you are certain Americans belong in a certain group.
What do you mean certain Americans?
Well, I mean, I don't know all of the criteria, but there are certain criteria in this country where you can get loans without any documentation. You can get loans and they donate. I don't know what it is, like
what
up to
the hell
17.
are you talking about?
I'm
Yeah, what are
talking
you
about
talking
there.
about?
Different Americans.
You talking about Bank of America?
A certain class of Americans are allowed to get loans with, I know Bank of America for sure, without providing documentation, without showing you have a job,
Who?
without having a credit score,
Without having a credit
Steve,
score,
without looking at the.
Steve.
Yeah, I
no.
mean,
Okay, who are certain Americans?
Steve, just deny or say, yeah, Tabitha or nuts. One of the two.
she's right. Those are in place. I don't agree with the way that they're
How
built.
does it work? You just walk into a Bank of America.
Look at Bank of America. You can read about it online.
Well, how
They
does
talk
it
about
work
on their
exactly, Steve? So, I
online
mean, they have to have accountability for these people. How does that? What?
You wouldn't get a loan.
Here's the thing: is I actually don't get too involved with programs like that, or even have it hold my headspace. It's a very, very, very small percentage of the entire United States that could actually qualify for that, so it doesn't affect me. But it just looks like a great recipe for default.
It is.
Okay,
No credit score.
gotta
It's a
answer
failed
the damn
program.
question. I ask simple point questions, black and white.
That's right.
Are we talking about minorities? Are we talking about people who make a certain level? Because Tabitha said certain Americans.
Well, it's minority.
I mean, who walks in there
is
and does
primarily minorities, but you also have to have a certain lower credit score with a lower income, very low income.
What? That's not good business. Is that good business? I mean, the whole
Steve already
system,
said it's not.
the whole system is set up on risk and reward for the banks. What's the risk? What's the reward?
It's called socialism.
I need a
Well,
gun.
look what happened in 2008. 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever you want to
Are we
call
going
it.
to have that again? Is that happening again?
No, we can't do that again. But you're starting to see some policies that look similar. It's not to the scale, and it won't get to that way because it's not for everybody, stated income and stated assets. But just some things you got to use common sense on. And I'm not sure that those things will work, but I didn't make those policies. Maybe they know something I don't.
Yeah. Well, DC from the chat line saying this is all about helping out the minority community.
It's all about socialism,
Wow.
is what equalizing everyone. Social equality is what it's about.
Yeah, you can go on their website and get some details, but
Is there any good that's out of this? Maybe I'm just being too.
Hell no.
Am I being too rambunctious? It's
Hell
a Thursday, not a
no.
Friday.
And thank
What-
God
No.
Steve is here to talk to us
Steve,
about
tell.
it.
I'm pretty fired up about it. I don't think there's anything good. I mean, when we first saw this bulletin come out, everybody and my colleagues and the people that I work with at a high level, we're all pissed. It's just, it doesn't make sense to penalize the people that are actually being responsible. Now, can you decrease the fee on the other end? You can probably do that, but where's that going to come from, right?
Mhm.
Don't penalize the people that are actually paying their bills on time, being responsible, understanding credit is very important. I'm a living example of having bad credit, seeing what it did to me, and changing it completely. Anybody can do it.
Yeah. How long did it take you, Steve, before we let you go?
To what? To rebuild my
Change.
credit?
Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. It probably took a year or so, but I mean, it was one of those things where it hit me in the face, and I said, I can't go buy a car, and I'm X amount of age old, and now I've got to call my dad. It wasn't good, but guess whose fault it was? It was mine.
That's why we love you, Steve. Not only are you one of the best mortgage guys that you're going to find in the country, and the success has proven that, but you're
you.
also honest, direct, and we appreciate you, bud, for jumping in today and letting us know. My God, yeah, like I just said, we may need gummies on 420 there to deal with this stuff. Steve Strick, the Vice President of New American Funding. Thanks, my friend. We'll catch up with you next week.
See you guys. Take care. Thanks.
All right.
He
Steve
doesn't
asked-
look quite as pissed off as I am.
No, he's got to be professional.
Fine.
I mean, what the hell?
And Eric, you work so hard on your credit
Fine.
score because you talk about it sometimes.
No,
and you've
well,
worked,
not just me. Everybody in this place has.
I know, but you specifically have mentioned how proud you are of your credit score, and to think
Not
that
me.
you had to work so hard. It's not easy to get a really good credit
anybody. It shows that they. I'm just wondering what the payoff pitch is for anybody that does protect their credit score anymore.
Once again, this isn't.
All that
it
work
doesn't
for
even make
nothing.
sense.
This isn't about $600
Yeah.
a year. What this is about is what it establishes, what it's telling you, the messages.
That's it, Vic. That's it. The message.
And it's bad. And
Doesn't it go along with the message that if you quit your job, you'll
it's
get
a
more
double
money?
standard, and it's something that we don't want. This is cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust with Tabitha Hassel, Eric Johnson, Lizzie Sparks on the chat line, and we've got Scotty Gherkin running the boards. All right, we switch gears. An awesome topic I can't wait to talk about. NFTs. Why should you care? What are they? How are they affecting our lives? And the reason we wanted to do this story with our marketing guru, Alex McCarthy from RaisingSails, is because 2 days ago, former President Trump sold out his NFTs in record time for millions of dollars. So we wanted to educate everybody, get everybody up to speed. And when I asked Alex about it, because Alex understands a lot of these new things that are happening in industry, he's like, oh, go figure, perfect timing. I just watched a 3-hour video on the whole subject. Alex, good morning. What the hell's going on with NFTs?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. A long time no chat.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, no kidding.
This better be good news today because the AI thing was.
Where
not
do
good
we
news.
start?
NFTs are fantastic.
Okay.
Eric.
Yeah.
Alex, take it. Let's go.
Sure. So, let's start with, I guess the news piece that kind of broke the story of this topic open. And that is Trump did something that, once again, a lot of politicians have shied away from. And that's formally backing and supporting a NFT project. And of course, as typical mainstream does, they were making fun of him, tearing into him. And he actually released, I believe, an earlier round of NFTs.
He did.
I believe like in
He
the
sold them
fall
for-
of it, Tabitha?
He sold them for $100 each. And what's so crazy about the first round and in this particular time, an NFT, as you guys know, and I'm sure Alex will explain to us, can be anything.
I don't even know what an NFT
Trump,
is.
it's a digital asset. And
What is
Trump,
a digital asset?
We'll get into that. But Trump,
Well, shouldn't you start there?
well,
Yeah.
no, because we're talking about Trump's coin first.
What coin? See how confusing this
Well,
is?
an NFT can be any digital. My cell phone could be an NFT.
Alex, you want to start from the beginning?
Alex, go to NFT, please.
Yeah,
So
what
we
is
don't-
Let me back up. Okay.
NFT?
Well, then we won't talk about Trump's coins.
No, we are going to.
Well, you got to know what the coin is first.
And an NFT, it stands for non-fungible token.
Non-fungible.
And what is fungible? Fungible is like the ability to replicate, trade, or transfer something. So if you have $1, let's say, you could transfer it. And we all know in recent years, you can also replicate it.
Mhm.
Same with, let's say, something like just a regular photo that you have on your computer.
Yep.
You can copy it. You can send, copies to other people. They can basically have, a like 1-for-1 exact replica of the original, right? Well, these are non-fungible, so they cannot be copied or duplicated in the truest sense. So you can have an NFT that maybe you screenshot or take a picture of, and in that sense, you could kind of copy the image, but you cannot copy the the like data or the code, the string of text that's tied to that image or design.
Yeah.
But it can also be a home. You can turn a home into an NFT. You can turn
But that's
my
not
coffee
digital.
mug into an
That's
NFT.
not digital.
It becomes digital when you turn it into
So anything could be an
Anything.
NFT. Anything that you can paint, do like a watercolor painting, and then you can scan that or take a picture of it and then put it, onto a computer, run it through one of these ecosystems. And what it essentially does is it then serializes that image. It attaches a unique set of code and like a string of numbers that it can identify with.
And it turns into a block on the blockchain.
But why would I want that? What value of it is it?
It
to
will
me?
eventually we'll potentially be selling everything we have in blockchain. We'll be selling everything as an NFT. Right now, I could take my home and turn it into an NFT and sell it to you, and you will physically own my home.
Yeah.
It will be a legal sale, and you will have my home. I could sell you my cell phone as an NFT.
Why not just money? I mean,
So-
I don't understand.
It runs through Ethereum.
Scotty, if it's
This
all
is
right,
crypto based.
I'm going to share my screen, and we can kind of first just take a quick look at the Trump NFTs, and then I can give you guys some like
Yeah, you go.
Good point.
real-world
I have the
examples.
Trump NFTs ready to go, but we'll let you do that.
Okay, cool.
I wanted to buy one, and I was too late.
Let's get to business there. It's a Ponzi scheme. That's what people are saying online, but I'll defer to you guys.
Well, that's a claim that if you think about really anything new in terms of new technology, it's always met with criticism and cynicism. A lot of people said the same thing about the internet. I mean, if you look at the early years of
Look at the
news
Trump
coverage
NFTs.
of the internet, they
Yeah.
definitely said like e-commerce is never going to take off, and the internet's a scam. And look
Okay.
at where we are today.
So
And-
what? So basically, these look like AI generated.
They do it.
Well, they're cards. They're
They're-
playing
they're-
cards. They're
they're-
like playing cards.
They're AI generated playing cards, which I think I could probably do because of what you taught me last Friday.
Can we
I
stop
could
on
probably
that
do
one
this in
picture of him with the
20
guitar
minutes.
for Eric?
and they can
Well, it's Elvis.
and Eric,
Yeah,
they
if
can
I could-
attach
It's
real assets
basically
to
it's
these.
Elvis Presley is Trump. Is
What-
what
Well,
The Giuseppe's key.
if you're asking me, yeah, I'm not the biggest, and I don't think I can pause this.
That's fine. Don't worry about
yeah,
it.
don't worry about it. We get the gist.
So I'm not a big fan of these designs. I think he would have been a lot more successful using the Trump cards as like different Trump cards that you could kind of like use in terms of like a
Like behind the scenes pictures of him in the White House kind of thing or something.
yeah, and
Well, he can
so-
still do that,
or
I guess.
or like one-liners to shut down like woke or lefty comments
Mhm.
with an image behind it. But essentially what it is an artist or an AI or a combination of the two came up with these. They ran it through a like a system or a network that was a blockchain that attaches a very unique identifier to each one of these. And so while I can copy and paste this, I can never own it without purchasing it.
So it's
through
just a copyright thing then, right? Is that what it is? Just copyright?
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty much.
you own
Yeah.
the digital
And
space.
it's a very secure way to kind of be able to have that copyright, not only just prove ownership, but see the entire process of the transactions that happen. So you can have a famous Van Gogh painting, let's say, and hanging up in your house, and you could tell folks you bought it for $50 million, and unless that sale was public, no one would ever know if you're telling the truth. Also, unless if you had a renowned expert come in on, a renowned expert on Vincent Van Gogh paintings, you can potentially sell a replica that's a fake. That's all of those things I just outlined are not possible with NFTs because any average person could go through their wallet, through these blockchain networks, and determine if it's like genuine or not, and then they could trace the trail from all the way as when it was started, its origin, through all the different sales to where it is now.
Here's the one thing I wanted to try to dumb it down, so to speak. Value is placed on these digital images by humans.
Correct.
That's the whole thing. So
And only because there's only one. There can never be two.
bingo. So, where's Poppy? I got his card. I got Tabitha's
There's
card.
only one.
Well, I want that card so somebody else, and this is stupid to many people. I get it.
It is stupid.
But
I don't think it's stupid at all.
But to many people, this is another way to add value, to make money. It's real estate.
it's a collector. They're collector.
You can only buy one house. You can only buy one thing, except it's all
Well,
digital.
there's
Digital.
But it's also tangible.
But if I want a Les Paul, I don't want a digital Les Paul.
It's not. I want
a real Les Paul.
No, but it is a real one. Like I just said, I could sell you my house. I could take a photo of my house and sell it as an NFT, but you actually own the real property of the house.
But what you're saying,
it is tangible.
No, this is not tangible.
No, NFTs are tangible.
No, they can
be.
Can be.
And
but
NFT,
most NFTs are not yet.
Well, I wouldn't say most. No, it's a
digital
$60 billion industry right now.
So
some of it's digital industries.
I'm lost. I get the artwork thing. The artwork thing.
A lot of people are selling
the
their
artwork
homes.
thing seems to me like Napster. It's like the copyrighted owner of a song back in 1998 is what we all went through, and then they figured out a way to encrypt the song to understand if it was copyrightable, and that was the beginning of the digital licensing.
They hold a value, like I said with Trump.
Well, anything holds a value. This is very Gen Z kind of stuff. Baby boomers don't look at this and go, "Oh, this is super valuable."
Most don't.
Okay, so this is a Gen Z thing, and that's where the market's going fine. If you want to invest there, knock yourself out. I don't see how you can have value of taking a picture of a Tabitha Hasselhoff.
Because you know what, Eric? A lot of people believe that someday Ethereum will be our currency.
Exactly.
And that NFTs will be how we sell everything.
So just jump in and start swimming in the pool.
When like Web3 comes up,
Web3.
NFTs are going to go through the roof. And whenever you buy things, they say in the future with Ethereum, you're going to be trading, buying and selling as NFTs. Your shirt will be an NFT. Everything will be.
So this is
I could not agree anymore.
So this is a win in Rome kind of thing. Do as the Romans.
It's coming, whether you want it to or not.
And I just need to know.
It's coming.
You know?
But
I know this subject can be difficult to understand if you've never heard about it, but there is a reason why Trump's digital cards sold out for $4.6 million in a day. So fast that Tabitha,
I couldn't even get one.
She couldn't even get one.
I tried.
Why are people buying them up? Because they see the future.
Yeah, money is money, and I agree.
They're collectibles.
So what keeps? let's start here because this is a good question.
And then
First
I want to go back to Trump's coins.
Well, let's go there now. Let's go there right now.
That will explain what this is all about.
Let's go there now. So the pictures that we saw, the NFT pictures, the cards. What does one of those cost? Who buys it? And how? I mean, just explain the buy-in mechanism that way.
Well, and I want Alex to explain us the gas fees because I don't understand the gas fees. But let's say I tried to buy one of Trump's coins back when they sold a few years ago. They were $100 a piece.
Okay.
And I missed it. I missed the boat because they sold out in
But you
minutes.
owned that one card. Is that correct? Or
I didn't. I know. Well, they send you a replica in the mail, but it's a digital asset. But they do send you a real coin.
But how much of the coin
or a
did
real
you own?
card? Well, I didn't buy it. I missed the boat.
Okay.
I wanted to buy it, but I'll tell you what, and this is why people buy these things, is that let's say Trump sold his coin for $100.
Yeah.
Okay. It went to a value of like $480, something like that.
Just because he owned it.
Just because it was an NFT. And then when they announced, when he was indicted, the price went up to almost $900.
How many did he own?
Each of those coins. I don't remember. It was only a couple hundred that he
So
sold.
it's like owning a business and having stock shares.
But then once he announced that he was going to release this second set, the price went back down into the high
that
400
seems
range.
shady to me.
It's just like a collectible. It's no different
Scotty, help me
than
out.
you buying guitars.
That sounds shady.
It is, but it's the collectible business.
I want this phone to be worth $1 million.
It's all about collectibles right now, but someday,
you guys, if I may,
Yeah.
I would probably disagree on a lot of those points, but to put it all in
Let's
context,
start where you disagree, because I disagree with myself.
Yeah, so to put it in context too, Eric, you mentioned this is kind of a Gen Z thing.
Yeah.
As a millennial, I was part of the Facebook generation growing up with our parents telling us that, Facebook isn't real, get off of it, don't use it.
Yeah.
And now you fast forward and all our parents are on it way more than
Well, I'm
than
part of
we
the
are.
phone on the wall generation.
And so it's more of just a lack of knowledge and and access to it, and then it is more a generational thing. I just think the younger generations adapt quicker to some of these cultural trends.
Yes.
But this is much more than a trend, and I'll give you one great example you will be able to relate to, Eric, in terms of application. So you remember back in the day when we got printed concert tickets.
Yes.
And you would hold on to those. You try not to tear them up or get them
You would scalp them.
Now you're speaking Eric's language.
You can scalp them.
Yeah, and you wanted to keep those. You'd hang them on your wall or put them on your posters, and you'd collect them.
Hell yeah.
Right. Well, Well, look at where it's gone today, where you go online, you pay like a $7 service fee for these tickets that ends up being an email of like a string of numbers, right? And you're now printing out an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper to get scanned when you walk in, or you're buying it on StubHub from someone else, and you're hoping that it's a legit transaction and they haven't already sold that ticket,
right,
elsewhere, right? So what NFTs now does, this technology allows, and I believe there's some sports venues that already have this in place for their existing tickets, but each ticket is now an NFT, which means it can't get sold to more than one person at a time. It eliminates any sort of fraud or security issue. It also still allows and creates for that feel of like that collectible, valuable kind of like design or art or memorabilia. But the like real use case or application would be like it's keeping from a lot of the fraud that's happened by scalpers or people online that will maybe they'll sell tickets to the same ticket on Ticketmaster, StubHub, and then, maybe through like Facebook Marketplace or whatever. Mm-hmm. That's not possible with these NFTs because it all has to go through the one blockchain network. And so you can see how much people paid for it previously. You don't have to take them for their word. And you also can see who currently owns it. Okay, the person selling it to me is also the one listed that owns it. So that's going to be a safe transaction. Right?
So what can we create today that we have value for? Can we create some trump cards? I'm not seriously.
You can have your own.
Can I go to? Can I go
we
to?
Could do the cancel this card.
Cancel this coin.
Well, who the hell's going to buy that? Here. Can we go to DALL-E, which is the AI image creator? Create 1,000 Trump, like you just said, behind the scenes of Trump in the White House with a cool woke statement on it. Can we sell those things for $100 a piece ourselves right now?
The value, just like anything else in the real world, comes down to supply and demand. So if like Eric's Trump cards, no one wants to buy them because they want to buy the official 45 collection, then there's not going to be any value attached to them. And I'll show you guys another commercial example of this happening. So this is Bored Ape Yacht Club. They're like, I'm sure some of these kind of designs might look familiar to folks, but this is like one of the most famous, it's definitely the most successful NFT project to date. I mean, they're selling, and they've sold for upwards of like $1.4 million per one. And let's just take a look at like this eye patch guy here, and we could look and see what people are bidding, because this one's for sale. Mm-hmm. We can look and see what people are bidding for it right now.
Yeah.
Look, it's going for upwards of $96,000. Now,
excuse me,
and that's because there's only one.
There's
only one. When you buy one, there's only one.
Here's the value to it, you guys. This is key. So, and this right now is very much, I'd say, like a coastal and younger generation thing, but certainly like a lot of older celebrities have bought themselves a Bored Ape Yacht Club NFT, but it's a very recognizable brand now. And so what people are doing is like the Nelk Boys, who are like famous YouTubers, they have their own seltzer. They bought one of these NFTs and they put it on one of their like seltzers as part for their banana flavor. Now, as a marketer, I know that in these situations, normally, if you're wanting to like pair up with a third-party brand, you've got to talk licensing fees, you've got to talk royalty fees.
Ooh, good point.
With an NFT.
Good point.
Yeah, maybe they get $1 for every single pack that you sell. Well, with NFTs, they own this image. It does not belong to Bored Ape Yacht Club anymore. Yeah. So they just had to, whatever fee they paid for it, it is now theirs, and they can do whatever they want with it. So they put it on their seltzer, and they're not having to pay, like if that was like, let's say, Hank Hill from, from King of the Hill. They'd be having to pay for every time that sold or for some huge exclusive deal. They don't have to do that. So it was so successful that they've done it now with jerky, because there was this was pepper, Mr. Peppered Bored Ape or whatever. So they had peppered beef jerky. And a lot of people that see this instantly know Bored Ape Yacht Club. So there's that brand value and association, and that's what they paid for and bought it.
I see what you're saying, but it almost diminishes the brand a little bit because that image is all over the place and it doesn't really get.
Well, that is their brand.
But this image isn't all over the place. Just the overall style. You will not find another ape that looks like this anywhere in the world, unless if it's just like a copy and paste or screenshot it here.
So what 16-year-old kid came up with this and then put it out there and became super successful?
It's a $60 billion industry.
I know, but where, in what bedroom in the Valley in California did some 16-year-old kid come up with this, and how did he make it successful? Just the monkey.
No, so this was done by two developers. They probably were doing it in their basement, from what I heard. But essentially, what they were wanting to do is capitalize off of what was at the time a very early start of hey, as artists and as designers online, we want to be able to have our content be mean and be valuable, because it is so much easier to copy it online over on a computer than if you do paint a fresco in real life. I mean, you would have to at least have a high definition printer and the right materials to do it, right?
Alex, we've got a question. I haven't asked a question here. I've got from our chat line.
There's a million.
Somebody has a rookie card of Brett Hull. So he has a tangible card.
Yeah, that's an NFT.
Does he take a picture of it and make it an NFT? Is it more lucrative on the NFT side than it is as a tangible collectible card?
Well, that's a good question, because that card's value is based on how rare it is, but there's many copies of it, right? So
yes,
they printed 10,000 of those. So there's 9,999 other people presumably out there that could do the same thing.
But couldn't the guy with it? But couldn't the first guy?
Well, it's not.
Couldn't the first guy digitize it?
There's different kinds of NFTs. They're not all collectible. A collectible.
You own the card, but you don't necessarily own the artwork in a lot of these situations.
Exactly.
So, for example, as in terms of a lot of our design, our website development, we're having to license other people's work for, let's say, stock photos or footage on a website. We don't own that. In some cases we do, but most of the time we're just licensing it. We're paying for the ability to use it in this application. And that would be what I kind of correlate to this card. You own that physical card, but not necessarily that artwork. You can't claim you did.
Okay, so let's back up a second, because the original NFT that I heard about was the Tonight Show's theme music. When I found out that the guy that wrote that was making $5,000 a night every time they played that song, and then they got licensing. So this basically sounds like no different than the guy that might have written the theme song for MASH, or the guy that might have written the theme song for whatever show you liked. It's a licensing fee. It's licensed to this thing, right? I'm trying to figure out
the licensing fee.
What?
It's removing the licensing fee, and it's allowing for ownership.
In a way, but it would okay. So basically, if we were to look back at 1972 when the Tonight Show theme song came out, NBC would have just said, "We're buying this NFT music for $1 million," and from that point forward, we don't have to pay any more royalties. So basically, you're just getting rid of the royalties.
Well, but then since they own it, they would also be able to dictate what happens to it, and if anyone else used it, they could pursue legal action or claim some sort of money is owed, because they own that property outright.
Right.
And it works the same with a house. If I'm going to sell my house today, Eric, to you as an NFT, it's an instant transaction. You've bought my house today. My house is now yours.
We got 5-10 minutes. We got to get into the Web3 aspect of all of this and how it's going to change. Can you start that, Alex, or should we let Tabitha to help educate our viewers and listeners regarding what Web3 is going to do with NFT?
Well, I'll start, but then I'm going to let Tabitha take it away. Essentially, Web3 is the next iteration of, all our interactions and communications and what we do online. Web 1 would be that very archaic, early 90s version where it was kind of like network to network. Web 2 is when we get into, the cloud and websites as we see them today on centralized servers. Web 3 places everything through the blockchain. It decentralizes things. So big companies like Google, Amazon cannot dictate what happens, across major swaths of the internet. And it privatizes everything as well by making it anonymous, giving us the ability to take back our data and then dictate how it's used or what we get in return for that data.
Yes.
And I don't know if that's a good way to tee it up for you, Tabitha.
Go, Tab.
It is. And I tried to explain to these guys, or everyone.
Think of us as second graders.
A week ago.
Think of it, and you have sock puppets.
It takes away
and crayons.
It takes away the platforms. There's no Facebook platform. There's no Twitter platform.
Why not?
And because everything's centralized. And so let's say the way it's been described to me is you open up your computer. Let's say I open up my laptop.
Okay.
And a lot of it is part of virtual reality.
Okay.
A lot of virtual reality world where you can actually go in, if you look at Super World, and you can virtually walk into a store and use your Ethereum to buy different goods. A lot of stores now have their stores on the virtual world in Super World. But you can also, when you open up your screen, your identity is actually going to be your crypto wallet.
What screen?
Well, just like where I'm on my laptop now, instead of having a Facebook ID, a Twitter ID, I'm going to have my atomic wallet. That's going to be my ID.
Okay.
Your crypto wallet is your ID. There's no censorship. But now what worries me, Alex, is that even though there's so many good things about Web3 in that it's not privatized, Facebook is not selling your data. They don't have your data. They only have what you make available to them. I worry that the government is going to find their way in and control all of Web3 and have all of our data and all of our transactions anyway.
I agree.
Does that concern you?
Well, there's certainly, as with anything from a digital standpoint, there's going to be some sort of fault or capability, some backdoor option. But with Web3, because it's decentralized, it makes that extremely more difficult. And a great example of this is Twitter. Let's say Twitter or Facebook. When we log on to Facebook and I want to comment on cancel this, my computer is pinging through the internet into Facebook's server. Now they have my IP address. They have any data that they're pulling from my browser that my browser is saved. The sites I visited recently, my email, etc. Right? Even if I'm going on my app instead of my computer through Facebook, it's going through one of Facebook's servers. And so whether it's Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, or the NSA, or China that wants that data, all they have to do is hack that server to get that data. With Web3, where everything's decentralized, there will be networks, like social networks, and I imagine a lot of these social networks would just transition into this new space, but it's not all happening on servers that they control. It's being spread out between all the computers and devices that are accessing and building that network as a whole. So think more of it from like a Bluetooth standpoint than like Wi-Fi.
Oh.
So we can Bluetooth one another one-to-one, and we can have like a Bluetooth kind of ring going.
Isn't that the problem China was having? Is that I don't know what the service is called, but people were communicating via their iPhone without going to a server. Remember that? And they had to shut it down.
I think basically that's how they were getting around a lot of the like spying in terms of their communication. Was one of the apps or devices they would just Bluetooth essentially the message to one another, then sending it through the interwebs, because once you launch it out in the internet, it's there forever. And unless if you're using certain things like a VPN, you can be traced back. So I can drop a link right now in the comment thread, and the people that click on it, I can actually track where they live, or like where they're accessing, where they clicked on that link from, like in a physical real-time sense.
Okay.
With Web3, since everything's going through the blockchain, remember that's all anonymized. That's all a string of numbers that identifies any sort of transaction. So we can't now. I'm sure there would be ways to and there is, because this is how the government kind of catches like crypto fraud, but it's a much more complex process, and it's much more transparent process to be able to then kind of determine who that is. And it's not something that the average Joe can do. Whereas right now, anyone could go to Google IPtracker.com, where you can create a link, send it to your friend, and find out where they open the link at.
I would like for you to do a lunch and learn that you pay for, of course, and teach us what the hell you're talking about.
What can my biggest concern? I have
It'll be
a lot of
NFT. It'll be NFT sandwiches there.
Okay, fantastic.
I have no issue.
Hopefully they're not digital
with NFTs, but when it comes to Web3, I do have a lot of hesitation.
Really? It sounds fantastic to me.
There are parts of it that sound great. I mean, there are no more individual.
It doesn't sound good to you?
There's no more individual logons. I'm going to be Tabitha Hassel if that's what I choose to be.
You're your own server.
On all of the platforms. You know, it's not going to be I'm Tabitha here and this is my photo on Facebook. It's
That's
going to be
good.
very centralized in that respect. You'll still have your social media, like Alex said. But what concerns me is that it even though it's decentralized, it also brings everything together. Where I feel
what do you not like?
I feel like the government will find
control.
a way to control
But they can control this
And
way easier. Did you not see what happened to TikTok and Twitter and all that stuff?
The government's already controlling our social media platforms. There's no question about it.
We do know that.
And
so
your emails.
I think the goal of Web3 was to take that government control out of the internet, out away from the social platforms.
Yeah.
You know, take our data sharing away, make it unhackable.
Okay.
You know, people cannot hack
Sounds
into
good
our
so
accounts.
far. I'm waiting.
And your a wallet, I use the Atomic wallet. Your crypto wallet is one of the most secure places in the world. I mean,
Tabitha, you're ahead of the curve, and I guarantee you're talking a different language.
You're talking over my head. That's
no,
for sure.
but here's the thing, Eric, and this is why I do believe this isn't going to be like things that I saw one of the comments say. It's going to be like your Beanie Babies. You paid a lot of money. I can't remember who said it, but
Ooh, Beanie Babies.
Your Beanie Babies will be sitting there, and you paid all this money because the value went bye-bye.
Oh,
the way that technology is working, the way that crypto is working, the fact that we will and are headed towards digital currency, that we will be in this new age, scares the crap out of me, but it also associates what's going on here.
I agree with what he just
said. The trading and all of it, it's coming.
I mean,
it is coming.
Would the Jimmy
here and
would the Jimmy Carter NFT be worth anything today, or the Ronald Reagan NFT?
Well, you're still talking about collectibles.
If it's designed by a famous artist, or there has to be some other element that makes it valuable. I guarantee if I did a Jimmy Carter portrait, it wouldn't be worth anything at all. But just to kind of like put all of that into context, like last week I was telling folks and urging, I urge you, jump into AI, learn about it, try it. When it comes to NFTs, I'm not suggesting that this is something we should all go out and be buying and purchasing, because or digging into.
It's very expensive to buy because of the gas fees.
Yeah, and as with anything, a lot of the early movement is hype, and so there was a lot of people that paid way too much for these crazy things because it was just like a new technology. It was exciting, etc. Right? But there is real application for this stuff. There's real value to it.
There is.
And the people that are kind of dismissing it because it's like digital. Well, take a look at your bank account and laugh as well, because all of that is just digital. Any money you have in the bank is a digital representation.
I'm so glad you said that.
There's no tie to a real physical dollar bill sitting in their safes that equate to the dollars that are in your account balance.
There's no money. If you actually go to the bank, most of us know this, and you say, I want to withdraw $50,000. They're like, well, we'll have to order the money, because there actually isn't money in the bank vault. So they have to actually order it. Your money.
There's no money in another bank vault to equate to that either. Which is why they can't have
so many times
vault.
in this show that I feel like I'm in the middle of who's
Eric,
on first.
I want you to think.
But
I want you to think of NFTs in a different way. Stop, get the collectible part out of your head, because that's what's going on now. But in the future, what an NFT is supposed to be is a way for you to transfer assets without all of the crazy hassle in between, without all of the fees. It's an instant transfer of an asset without all of the different restrictions and red tape.
A lot of these like DocuSigns that you do online, these documents that are digital, will be tied to using the same NFT technology. Right now, when you sign that document, here's how they're like doing things to kind of like ensure it's genuine. They're taking a snapshot of like the location, the IP address in which you're signing it, the date, your browser information, what device you're using, all of these things that you didn't consent to, because they need to potentially one day prove, okay, he did indeed sign it since this is digital. With an NFT, with NFT technology, they don't have to do that anymore. They can literally track that anonymous code from point A to point B back to point A.
Yeah, every time I hear this stuff, just I know that it's coming. I know Tabitha and you are very ahead of the curve, but I know there was a day in this country where the housewife of every house would go around with their little candle and light all the lanterns in the house. And then someone came in and said, "Hey, I can put electricity in here, and all you got to do with the flick of a switch, I'll make it bright in here." And everybody was like, "You are crazy." No, I'm not.
Eric, think of NFT.
It's had electricity.
It seems like that's
but we
where
lost
we're
the
at.
capability.
NFT it's the next progression. It's a solution to an issue that the internet and the digital world created, where now we're able to give every asset a thumbprint, just like us humans have.
How to bring this all home? How is the government going to screw this up and get involved?
Exactly. That's
so. What, in your opinion, if you had to look at all the potholes, or where would you say the government gets in? Because they mess everything up. Where are they going to get in and screw all this up?
That's a great question. I imagine it's going to be trying to, control or centralize these networks in general. It'll be through kind of like what they're probably doing with cryptocurrency. I mean, it's no coincidence.
That's right.
You look at when crypto started tanking in relation to the financial sector and the feds and what the feds are doing. It's no coincidence that as they ramp up to push the U.S.'s new centralized cryptocurrency, that these stable coins like Bitcoin have tanked. And so what they'll probably try to do is eliminate all of these other like private sector or individual networks, and say, okay, we can have this Web 3.0, but because for your safety and for the care of the American people, we're going to run it all through, our systems and using our code. And then by doing that, then of course they'll be able to, backwards engineer other elements that'll again continue to spy on us and be used against us when we go to a rally in, Washington, D.C. And then next thing you know, your bank account's shut off and FBI's at your door. And
allegedly, I keep hearing, and Alex, I don't know what you have to say about this, that when Web 3 comes out, which should be soon, when Web 3 is introduced, that it's going to bring in the social credit scoring, and that's when that's going to come into play.
That's interesting to note, because having that fingerprint or that serial number would certainly allow that to happen. Though I don't think Web 3.0 is necessary for that social credit system.
It's not. We're already doing it.
I can say with certainty, without certainty, because I can't prove this, but we have some sort of low-key, like under-the-cover social credit system right now, where if you get banned from, we've seen it with some of these famous folks, with Alex Jones being the first person, some of these other high-level conservatives, where they get banned from all the major, networks and websites almost instantaneously. And so it may not be necessarily a government-funded program across the board. There's an entity that is in contact with a lot of these huge digital networks and tech companies that are pulling the strings whenever they want to shut someone off.
Well, it's just like banning.
I do. You know what I hear when I hear Alex talking? First of all, the first thing I think of is a tent. that you bring to Yellowstone Park and you just live completely off the grid and you just in your days that
You're
way.
sounding like Tabitha.
But it's also, I wonder if this is going to push people to be, because there's already a push. I don't know if you guys know this or not. And this is the younger generation to use flip phones again and get off of Facebook and all this stuff. I know it's not a lot of people, but there is a push to go buy these get me off the grid kind of situations. Every time I hear Alex talking about this, I'm like, there's going to be a group of people that live in the middle of Kansas that have just had enough.
Well, you're not going to have a choice soon because you're not going to have cash. You're going to be
They'll barter. They'll
to
do
use
something.
digital currency, and
they'll
someday,
produce for themselves.
Someday you may be forced to use Ethereum.
I heard a comment. They hate this. I saw a comment. We'd hate this. Times have changed. They are changing. And it all affects the crypto, the AI. It's happening.
Yeah, I know it's going to overwhelm you. But there's also this thing, and if you guys go back and read Emerson and Thoreau, there is a point where man just says, I've had enough, and they unplug themselves and they have a much better life.
Anybody can live off the grid. I'm one of those people.
And there's actually, you can actually buy packages to live off the grid. Hell, Scotty lives off the damn grid.
You can buy maps to live off the grid and where to plant your crops.
Most people are not living off the grid.
Well, and I'll tell you all, I might seem like Mr. Techie and you bring me on as a, authority on some of these things, but I always tell folks semi-jokingly that I feel like I was born in the wrong era, because I do not like being constantly connected. And it's very draining for me to have to just feel obligated to respond to even like text messages all day long. Whereas back in the day, once you left the party or the social event or work or wherever, you can kind of like shut off, disconnect, and interact with those around you.
You don't even know, Alex. It was so fun to walk in your door back in 1985 and just hit a button and hear your messages. And that was all you had. It was.
I was an 80s baby. Fun. I was an 80s baby for 24 hours. So I feel like I have a sense of what it was like to live in the 80s.
Or if you were really lucky, you would have a super long.
No, you don't.
If you were real lucky, you would have a super long phone cord that went from your kitchen to your room, and you could pull the phone into your room.
You could get.
Remember that?
You
can still do that technically.
Huh?
You could get different length of cord.
You can still do that.
I know. You'd go down to Radio Shack and get the 40-footer. Yeah.
What's Radio Shack? I'm kidding.
Before we move on to something else, there's something I want to ask you. I've studied Web3 and NFTs. I don't know half as much as you do about it all. Is it coming? I feel like it's coming whether we want it to or not. We know Web3 is coming whether we want it to or not. Should people familiarize themselves with it? Because sooner or later they're going to have to interact with it.
If you want to win in the space.
Well, yeah, I would say to some degree, it kind of depends where you are in life. Like, if you're retired, I don't know if it would necessarily impact your life too much. If you're still in the professional world, and especially if you've got some time left in the professional world, I would certainly do so. Now, I would say the first step though is like just removing that natural fear us humans have for like the unknown, and also it seems super overwhelming. But you type in like things like NFTs for dummies on YouTube, and you watch a 5-minute video, and now all of a sudden you've got visuals there, they're explaining it, and all of a sudden it's so much less intimidating. You may not have everything figured out, and quite frankly, there's so much tech involved in this that I have no clue how it works. I know the terms, I know how they interact with one another, but beyond that, I don't know. But we don't need to know how all this works. We don't know the code behind Facebook yet. We're all using Facebook or YouTube or Apple Podcasts to listen to this show, and so we don't need to know how every component works. We just need to know, like from an application standpoint, how to interact with it.
Yeah, blockchain
is very confusing.
You buy a Tesla and you don't need to know how it works.
No, that's
just
true.
An electric car.
But the more you know and the more you familiarize yourself with the terms, you're not going to be caught off guard when these things are applicable.
You look excited about it. I'm not going to lie.
I love new technology.
I would say Tabitha looks like the kind of off the grid person. She's not. But she is looking forward to this.
I always buy the newest gadgets. I love technology. But here's why I'm so interested in Web3 and why I'm so interested in NFTs and decentralization and blockchain is because when at some point, if it's ever used in a nefarious way, whether that's hackers or the government or private entities, I want to know what's coming. And if you don't understand the technology,
Now,
you
can I
will
ask you a
never know when
question?
they
And
use
then-
it against
since
you.
And we'll let you go, Alex.
And one last point.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me. But if nothing else, familiarize yourself enough with it to be an educated voter as these things start to make their way to the conversation from a political and cultural standpoint. So that way you don't feel, none of us get the hood dropped over our eyes because we feel like we're unfamiliar with this and we get sold a bag of goods by the quote unquote experts, because we know how well that has gone in the recent past.
Yeah.
So let's not let the experts control all these areas of our lives that are going to increasingly control large elements of how we interact with one another.
And can we backtrack on that? It's called liberals. The liberals control AI. The liberals control the blockchain. They control all of this Web3 and everything else coming at us. If we don't know what we're up against, we won't be able to find some salvation
I
from
will say with the Web 3.0, we're finding a lot of it is being driven by right-leaning libertarians. They very much attracted us because of that decentralization. And it's a little bit, there's not that centralized control and authority. And so there are a lot of groups, development teams, or companies that are very much libertarian minded. And so I would say that's kind of like the one shining light. But then, of course, circling back this whole conversation, Trump being the first politician to come out with these. I mean, this is one reason why, as a millennial, I jumped on a Trump train early on, because he's willing to do things. Other politicians had gotten pitched this before. It's a great way to raise money. They didn't want to take the risk. They didn't want to get criticized. And he caught a lot of flack. And yet he's sitting with $4.6 million more in his campaign war chest.
That's right.
And a couple records in terms of the sellout time that other people don't have, because he's willing to jump into this. And that's what we need more of on the right, because we're just always so much against, generally speaking, progress, and we like tradition, and I'm the same way, but we have to push ourselves forward in some areas. Otherwise, we end up with an entire ecosphere of networks that are hostile to our cause in our censoring us. Yeah. And we paid a dear price for that already, and we can't continue to do so. Otherwise, we'll cease to exist.
All I'll have to say to you is this.
That's right, Alex.
I'll say this. I'll leave it here. The one thing you need to remember, what Alex just said, is get very familiar with this, because the Patriot Act screwed a lot of stuff up.
Of course it did.
It was promised on us and it lied to us.
Alex made the best point
Did
of
Alex
the day.
take off? I'll be sure to text you a bunch today and tonight, Alex.
I was so glad that we had Alex on.
You guys missed my
all
joke.
of this.
Never mind.
Oh,
well, just say it one more time.
Later?
I said, Alex, we'll see you later. I'll be sure to text you a whole bunch today and tonight.
Oh,
he loves text. He loves being texted.
He's one of the worst at getting back to text, and he's a younger guy.
Yeah, but you know what? If Alex didn't receive text, he would get pissed off about that too. But why isn't anybody texting me?
When you own a business, there's all kinds of things going on. It's Alex.
Yeah, I understand.
Alex made the best point he could have ever made, and that is we cannot allow them to minimalize us. And I don't remember exactly word for what he said, but if we don't stay on top of this technology, that we will no longer exist.
I just think there's a lot of revolutions, and don't be, and like he said, the technology is going to be on top of you, whether you even know it or not. All of a sudden, you're going to be like, all of a sudden, some soccer mom's going to be out there looking for a recipe for a casserole, and they're going to go, "Hey, mom, you're using Web 3.0," and she's going to go, "Oh, I had no idea. Look at that 3.0, whatever. Oh, look, the casserole came."
You mean
up.
while she pushes her button and her machine makes her casserole?
Yeah, whatever it is. Well, yeah, fine, okay.
It's virtual.
But there's a lot of revolutions that could happen. You're going to have these people that want to retract and recoil from this garbage eventually, and they'll have the opportunity to maybe do that, correct? And you're going to see people that are done with these liberal and conservative, whatever, and they're going to move to the state that they want to be in. So redistribution of wealth can also be redistribution of where you live. So these we're in a time period right now where people are getting, here's your choices: transgenderism, liberalism, or economic development and a great life. I'll take this.
Yeah,
and
but
that's
the
what's
problem
going on.
is you're not going to have a choice.
You don't have a choice.
When it comes to the financial industry, when it comes to financial services.
That's true.
There's not going to be a choice. Yeah, we may like how we have it now and have had it, but guess what? Times are changing. It's happening.
Things are changing.
It's
man.
part of this show. We don't get to stay in the same era. We don't get to do the same things that we did before. They're changing.
Yeah.
And that's why, we all talk about things that we've said on the show. The dollar's going bye-bye. Crypto's coming in, or parts of it. Digital currency is coming. God, I pray that it doesn't get attached to the Federal Reserve, but it is. It's all coming. And NFTs and digital are part of where we're going. Do I think it's a bad idea eventually? Yeah, I do, but it's coming.
How does BRICS fall into all this? Is BRICS too little, too late? They're like, man, digital's already coming.
No. Well, BRICS.
They have their own.
They have their own. They're actually coming up with their own gold-backed cryptocurrency.
Bingo.
BRICS is against New World Order, and they're certainly against our tyrannical overreach being part of NATO. They're tired of us going into invading other countries and destroying them, us putting our puppet governments into all of these different countries and controlling the entire world, being the world's police. That's what they're tired of. But BRICS is a matter of fact, they're almost leading the technology world. They're leading it.
Is it good or bad?
I
always defer to that
question.
Think about this with technology. It's all who's behind the buttons, who's pressing the buttons.
Okay.
Is it good or bad? I don't think anything good is going to come of it. No. I think in the end, it's going to be used against us. And I know Alex has much more. He's much more optimistic than I am, and that's not unusual.
I share your feelings,
but I think the government will find a way to infiltrate all of the technology we have and find a way to use it against us.
Let that breathe for a second.
And I know Alex said a lot of these are right-leaning libertarians, but the guy that created
he's liberal.
Web3 is Mark Anderson is extremely liberal.
Very liberal.
I tried to reach out to him on LinkedIn like 2 years ago when he first started talking about Web3 to get him on the show. I've reached out to the folks at Superworld. And Eric, you want to blow your mind, go to the Superworld website and look at the prices of real estate. People have already bought Scottrade. They've already bought the St. Louis Arch.
Yeah.
We need to buy Strategic Air.
Don't say that on air.
Oh yeah, don't
what?
Eric, remember like people would buy websites and name websites so that they'd have it, then you have to go buy them.
Coca-Cola.com.
It's kind of the evolution.
Yeah.
This is the evolution of getting out there ahead of things from a digital and a technical standpoint.
And there's a woman who has already created a lawsuit and tried to sue, I believe it was Superworld, over being sexually harassed in the digital virtual world.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Other avatars were getting too close and touching her.
That's right.
So they had to go back and modify.
It's a new law
reality.
field for attorneys.
I know.
The digital attorneys.
Now you have a bubble around you.
Seriously. What about AI? AI attorneys. I mean, it gets all.
Oh, they're saying it was the metaverse, which the metaverse is dead. So
I agree with that too. Metaverse is dead.
Sorry, Mark Zuckerberg.
Eric, if there wasn't enough to worry about already, this is cancelthisshow.com. We just went through our break today. What's up, Scotty? We see you today.
He looked like ZZ Top there for a second.
I was doing my best NFT of Alex last week.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
That is the Alex.
Why did he come in looking like Max Headroom last week?
Hey, well, he's talking about
looked good,
AI.
man.
It was
Yeah,
an
it was
AI.
AI,
It was
He
an
looked
AI.
he looked fantastic.
Alex is a great addition for these
I love
technology.
Alex.
I'm watching the trees behind you, and I'm wondering if we're getting ready to have a tornado.
Don't worry about that right now. We got much bigger problems, Tabitha.
There's trees behind me.
And
Tabitha.
speaking of problems,
Happy 420, Tabitha.
Yeah.
These trees.
I might need some 420 day because I am terrified of storms.
It's fine. You'll be all right.
And
Hey,
we're supposed to have some tonight.
Yeah, I'm going to NFT the storm today.
Scotty, when you get a chance, can
Yes.
you pop up? We're talking about scary issues.
Ooh.
Can you pop up the video that Tabitha sent you?
Uh,
I'm assuming she told me she sent it.
What was
yeah,
that?
she did. So I pulled it up. It's a longer video, but I'm not sure it's exactly what it talks
Did you
about.
not? Did you
border
watch?
sheriff
Did you
says-
watch this?
I did. And this is basically, and we can explain it.
It does say the 900% spike on,
Yeah,
on the
the-
title there.
The
so.
Border Control is saying there's a 900% spike.
That
And
surprises you?
people from China coming across our southern border illegally. And as we know, and as we've seen other video, Fox had a video, and apparently it's been deleted, that also shows hundreds of young Chinese men crossing our southern border and leaving China. There's videos of them actually leaving China. China, they don't just let you go, right?
No.
They don't just let you go. So
especially now.
And so they know these men are leaving. There's no women, there's no children. It's just men. And we've been talking about this for a couple of months. It's not new.
So we don't have the video.
Yeah, I got it. It's on. It's on the screen now. It just
Can we talk over it?
Yeah, because I'm just sharing it to the screen. So why don't we play? It's a little longer. It's like 3:20.
And we don't have to listen to them talk. The main reason why I wanted us to show the video is just to show them crossing, to show them standing in line.
Well, let's just watch it for a minute and see what we get.
Okay.
We can pull it in and out if we need to.
Yeah. And as we're watching this video, there was another massive video up close of a full line.
That's right.
And not just some, but most of the people in line. Are you playing that video, Scotty? Or
no, it has audio. I don't.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd like to see.
It's a news
All
report.
Right,
it's News Nation.
All right, go ahead.
Well, continuing our border coverage, agents seeing a significant increase in migrants that have made the difficult and costly journey here to the U.S. all the way from China. Correspondent Jorge Ventura is live in Hidalgo, Texas. Jorge, what are we learning?
Hey, Nicole, I'm in the Rio Grande Valley in South Texas, and in this sector alone, Border Patrol right now is apprehending Chinese nationals at record numbers. Now, compared to last year, they're already seeing a 900% spike in Chinese national apprehensions. The reason why that's so significant is because Chinese nationals are a viable commodity to the cartels. They're willing to pay up to $35,000 to be smuggled into the U.S., and it's creating a unique challenge for U.S. Border Patrol. Behind the wall on the U.S.-Mexico border,
are they hugging the ditch area?
Is the Texas Department of Public Safety, working in partnership with the Border Patrol to stem the flow of illegal migrants crossing into the U.S. We spend time with the Texas DPS brush teams to get a first-hand account of the issues they face every day.
They're dealing with the uptick in Chinese nationals, especially in the Rio Grande Valley sector, which is unusual. Before, we would never see this many Chinese nationals coming across this area here.
The numbers back up Lieutenant Olivares. In the first 5 months of the 2023 fiscal year, there have been 4,366 encounters with Chinese nationals at the southwest border, with 1,368 in the month of February alone.
It's a very lucrative business for the smuggling organizations, especially dealing with Chinese nationals, where they're having to pay anywhere from $35,000 and up.
We saw the first-hand number of Chinese migrants making the journey.
Did you just arrive here in the United States?
Communicating through a translator app.
Yeah. Today.
Zhang Kaiyu is one of those individuals. He fled China because of the strict COVID-19 policies, sharing the video of what he had experienced before fleeing the country. His journey to the United States began in Ecuador.
Panama.
From there, Zhang made his way to Neocoli, Colombia, where smugglers coordinated his travel on the boats to Panama and passed through the Darien Gap. Zhang was issued a temporary visa in Mexico before finishing his journey over the wall and into the U.S.
Why did you decide to come to America?
Yearning for American freedom.
And Nicole,
it's noble.
Interesting.
It is interesting.
Noble. It's noble. It's nefarious. It could be nefarious as well.
It could be. And some of these people
Lizzie
very
says,
well.
yeah, no coincidence.
It's not a coincidence. And some of these people very well could be potentially escaping China because of COVID restrictions. But I think the majority of these people are Chinese spies that China knows they're here. China probably, just like Terry O'Neill said, drop them off in an airplane somewhere along the southern border, somewhere maybe even in Guatemala or El Salvador.
If that's the case,
and they make their way up.
If that's the case, then they have an accomplice.
Where's
in
the
that
women
country.
and children?
If that's the case, then if China's really doing that, here's what we don't know. Okay, like Tabitha says, there's some 707 or 737 flying over the ocean, landing in El Salvador, in Nicaragua, in Central America somewhere, and that country has a documentation that this is happening, yet they're not telling anybody.
Well, they
about
would never tell us. They would never tell us because you know why? Because
they're our friends. The reason that that's important, it would be like It would be like us doing it to Canada.
They don't tell us
Okay.
because they don't want these people in their country. They're fine with them landing, and then they're fine. You know, we have this northern corridor that comes up.
The proper
through those
channel,
countries.
Tabitha, would be we need to get our border czar. Can I get the border czar for the United States on the phone? Yeah, hey Kamala, how you doing? My name is Pablo. I'm from Central America. Yeah, I got a plane full of Chinese that are ready to make their way up to the border. So I just thought I would let you know.
But that's never going to happen, as we already know.
Eric, you're
It's
going to
never
learn
gonna
one of these
happen.
days.
I know it's never going to happen.
It's never going to
Things
happen.
have changed. We're trying to educate people on
But
the
I'm just
show.
trying to verbalize it and put it out in
I
the
get it.
universe that that's what's happening.
But yeah, nobody's going to give us a call and say, and even if they did with the Biden administration, it wouldn't even matter. They let them come through anyway. But think about this: all of our enemies have known for many years, except for when Trump was president, that they can come across the up the northern corridor into the United States with no problem at all. Only Trump took border control down by what he.
The only thing I see about this is
that
good.
ladder. How tall was that ladder?
I know.
50 feet.
It was
Had
big.
to be. And then you have to get down on the other side, which I guess you use a rope at that point. You better have better.
Before you make your point, Eric,
you better
can I-
have good upper body strength.
I need to bring something up. The reason this is all happening too, and just think about this: the video that I talked about earlier was present 2 days ago. That video in 2 days has been scrubbed. It is gone. You can't find it. The tweet deleted, video taken away. Why in the hell do you think that video of hundreds, not just a few, not 10, not 50, hundreds of Chinese men, all Chinese men, no women, all Chinese men coming through the border, Chinese military-aged men coming into the United States through Mexico?
Because they see Mexicans doing it, they're like, well, why don't we get a little bit of the game?
Yeah, and once again, they're coming through. Why are they coming through? They're not coming through with good plans.
You know what? No,
they're not coming through. Hey, we love America.
They are. He just said it. He said we're leaving here because.
Okay, but that's what do you expect him to say? I've been trying to get a guest on the show. I hope I can get him. His name is Chang. And he spoke with, I don't know if it was Tucker or someone else a few weeks ago. And what he talked about is how these men of fighting age are coming into the United States through our southern border. And they're coming here because they're forming sleeper cells. And he said the war with China will be right here in our own country. And it's going to be fought in the way of terror attacks. We always think of terror attacks to come from ISIS or other Sunni rebels, but it's not. He said it's going to come from China, and they are going to carry out attacks very much like a Muslim organization would.
Well, I've heard that, but I've also heard China's plan is to take us down without a shot being fired, and
they could,
and that's from all of the infighting that we have. For example, loans. As we started this show off, hey, let's give you're going to pay for minorities' loans now. They have bad credit. So you're going to pay for their loans because you have good credit. They don't have good credit. Tabitha, Steve said that there are programs based for minorities. The whole situation is basically if you have a 680 score or higher, you have to pay for people who have bad credit. Okay, those types of issues, those types of stories that pit Americans against each other. And that's exactly what that does.
And we also have to be very careful that when we see people of Chinese descent on the street, that we don't think that there's one of these folks coming across border. We don't want any hate crimes being committed because these people, they're not going to be the people.
Legal Asians don't want illegal Asians coming here.
That's right.
Donald and I had
was perfect.
Donald, not Donnell. He's Asian.
He was great. We need to have him.
Well, he's coming back. Yeah, he's coming back on. He may try to stop by.
It's just another one of those things. Is when you pack so much stuff on the top of a pile. Look, everything that should be super important is not important anymore. Does that make sense?
It's all a distraction.
Does that make sense? It's like, Chinese nationals that are of fighting age coming across the border. That would be a headline in every major newspaper about 20 years ago. It would be so big. Now it's just another day in the administration. And the big picture item that they're trying to push through, which I'm not totally clear on yet, is starting to become a little clearer. So it's a shame. I mean, the Hunter Biden stuff, it looks like it's getting buried again, but there's some whistleblowers coming out trying to bring that thing to light. If that doesn't happen, then you really know where the government is baked. This Hunter Biden guy is such a piece of garbage.
Well, I think
it's unbelievable.
Some of us already know. I don't need the Hunter Biden story to tell me how our government is
like I
coming
said,
after
until
us.
Lester Holt says it, it doesn't mean anything. Until Lester Holt says it on the air, it's a non-story.
I think that we all need to be careful of distractions. We all need to have our heads on a swivel, and we need to be reading between the lines, and we need to be on Telegram and some of these other places where you hear the news. And that's why we're here, isn't it? Why we're here every day to talk to you guys about stories you're not going to hear on the mainstream news.
It's still so difficult for you to process this, Eric, that we and the research that we and the stories that we tell on Cancel This, most of the time are the first time people are hearing it, or we're actually doing the research and talking about the stories that you're not getting anywhere else, that people, Americans, need to hear.
Correct.
Unless you just want to be that.
And that's where
that feather that's just floating through the air and being hit this way, that way.
And that's where our American media has completely dropped the ball. And I'm so saddened by that completely 100%, is that they are culpable for this. Not only is Mayorkas an incompetent boob down on the border, but you have all of the major news outlets not reporting on it, which is lying by omission. And that's why I'm so disgusted with it. I'm fed up with them lying to us,
Eric,
more than anything.
If you think
I know the White House is going to lie to us, but it's up to Lester Holt to get in there and mix it up a little bit.
It's up. Yeah,
Lester Holt is controlled by the government, so forget Lester
nobody
Holt.
should be watching Lester Holt or respecting Lester Holt. Zero. The other problem is the fact with this administration, there's only one person that I see that's incapable of doing the job, and that's Kamala Harris. She has shown that over and over again. The rest of these people in these positions, Eric, they're not stupid. This is calculated. It's on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
Black and white is easy to see and easy to read. There's a reason they're doing the things that they are. There's a reason Mayorkas said yesterday, yeah, the border's safe. It's all on purpose. It's all by plan.
Yeah.
It's difficult for
And trust me, Drew
80s,
Collins, they're using you as a pawn, my friend.
Well,
There's
he'll
about
realize it
10
someday.
years from now, my friend Drew, you are going to rue the day when you went and started defending these clowns. This is coming after
You won't rue the day.
This is coming after you hardest, actually. You guys are you're the pawns. You're the ones that they're going to roll all over. But they need you in the interim. They need you right now to vote for them to get them to the promised land. They don't care about you, man. I'm telling you, they don't care about any of us.
Eric.
They don't care about any of us.
Yeah, the pride factor.
right.
The pride factor will never change because it is so difficult for people to drop their pride when they realize that they're wrong. Like, apologize, move on, get with the flow. Humans would rather die, do without, suffer than admit that they're wrong and move on. That's why you always have to keep an open mind, learn. We're humans. We're going to make mistakes. Or as Tabitha says, we're going to have mental illness.
And another people, there's another group of people that I'm kind of disgusted with as well. And that's anybody in a high ranking level in the Senate. You would think they would be close enough to the sun to actually know what's going on and be able to be whistleblowers for us.
Sometimes they do.
I would love to
Not
see,
all the time.
I know, but they're close enough to go, here's what Schumer's about to do today, and here's why he's going to do it. So let's all prepare for today. Let's all prepare for them making John Fetterman a spokesman at one of these council meetings. He can't even speak, but here's what they're doing. I would love a daily briefing from the people closest to all of this to say, so go about your day, but I thought I'd give you a briefing of what's happening.
Whistleblowers are charged with espionage, as we found out last week.
Hey, by the way,
there's no protection.
We're working for.
What does Marco Rubio know that he's not seeing? What is what do all these
Marco
guys?
Rubio's an idiot. I don't care what he's saying.
Oh my God! Why did I know you were going to say that?
You don't like Marco Rubio?
I do not.
She calls him establishment, but what?
You don't like anybody that's in those positions. Do you?
I don't like anyone who is establishment. No, because they're not fighting for
Is there
us.
any senator you like?
They are fighting.
Is there one senator?
There are many.
Name one.
I know a lot of state senators.
No, not
that
state,
I really
federal.
Like.
No, she likes Josh Hawley, but we're not going to go down this path.
We're not even going to.
What about Eric Schmidt?
I love Eric Schmidt.
Okay.
Hey, it is 420. We were trying to do an interview. We're not going to do that anymore with Greenlight. We're going to be starting a partnership with them May 1st, 420 Marijuana Day. But what we wanted to do too was, because we've got them on our show with us, is we got our own Scotty. If people didn't realize,
we got our own Scotty
stoner, and I don't.
You've got you've got some things coming up, but you also have products right now that I think they're non-marijuana based, but
they're
THC.
cannabinoid based. Yeah, they just don't have THC in them.
Yeah, explain what you got.
Well, I'll give you a little background because my mother suffers from Huntington's disease, and there's less than 30,000 cases in the world of this disease, and it's 100% genetic. So I have a chance of having it. My brother's been tested for it. I have not. So when my father passed, she started to be able to not really function on her own at home. So she moved in with us. Well, she was having trouble sleeping at night. It's neurological. So a lot of tics and a lot of things going on. So we started dabbling with like CBD products and CBG products and even THC as far as her taking like a gummy at night to go to sleep. And we found like certain mixes where there's like less psychoactive effect to THC, where you're not just getting totally stoned out and you're using it for, for lack of a better term, medical, medical related issues. So when she first came to our house, she would get up 2-3 times a night in the middle of the night.
Right.
12, 3, 5, always up, moving, calling. Hey, I'm up. She couldn't move. We have to pick her up literally to put her in a chair. So we started doing THC at night and she would sleep through the night without interruption. It would help her sleep through the night. And also we started to notice that she had less tics. She was able to talk a little clearer without slurring because it was more focused. Now, maybe it's because, your sensories kind of slow down from, depending on what type of THC or how much you're taking, because you could take a lower level and get a buzz, or you could take a lot and get, smoked out. So Marla and I were buying all these products and it was very expensive. So we started looking into developing it, and we started growing CBD on our farm. And got into processing the CBD and creating products that, we were paying, $110 a bottle for, and found out it was way less to make it yourselves. And you can order all these products that are tested and, tested for, metals and just bacteria, everything. You can do a full panel test on all these products and items. So
damn,
Marla is actually, her birthday's today, 420. She's an original hippie.
Happy birthday.
She's a partaker by all means. And so she started a product line called Marla Jean, which is kind of like Mary Jane, but Marla Jean. And created a product line based on health and beauty. That was her thing. It wasn't so much about getting high for her. Plus we didn't have the licenses to do such a thing. So we started with the CBD. Now we could have THC in our products as long as they were under a threshold of the 0.3% that's regulated by the state of Missouri or the federal bill, because there's the farm bill that Trump put in place in 2018 that allows up to 0.3% of THC in a standard gummy. Now what that means in a gummy aspect, you could have a gummy with 10 milligrams of THC that for probably any one of us is more than enough to get, buzzed off of. And that's 100% legal to sell anywhere in any store in the state of Missouri or the United States for that matter. Anything under 0.3%. So there's enough THC in there to get you buzzed. Now, the people that smoke and partake daily, they probably need way more than 10 milligrams to do that. They probably need 50 at any given time. And you can do up to 400 or 500 milligrams a day, depending on your tolerance.
Does your body get used to it? Like
I think you can build a tolerance. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So Marla started her store. So what we're going to do for, and I got it on the screen now, what we're going to do for Cancel This is, if anyone's interested in trying some CBD products, all these products are 100% THC free. They are broad spectrum.
Won't test positive.
Will not test positive. Most of the only ingestibles that she has are the gummies. She has a CBD gummy, which helps with just like anxiety, and it can help with sleep, pain relief, anti-inflammatory, all that stuff. And I'm going to pull up a photo of a chart and I'll explain it to you guys here in a minute. But she also has CBN gummies, which is another cannabinoid in the spectrum of cannabinoids in the cannabis plant. CBN is the last stage of the cannabinoid. Like you go through stages, like when you're growing a pot plant, like if you pull it too early, it's more CBD than it is THC.
Okay.
And then it goes to CBG and then THC, THCA, CBN, goes down a whole spectrum. And I'll show you that spectrum here in a second. But she has CBN gummies, and those are nighttime gummies. So they're more of a sleepy, they don't, you're not getting high off it, but once you're asleep, the CBN, your CB receptors take it as helps you stay asleep. Almost like it's very natural, just like unlike, I don't know if melatonin's natural or not.
It is.
It is. Okay. So it's basically the same thing as that. It's just you're using cannabinoids instead of melatonin. So we started this product line. It really started with the massage oil because my mom has spinal stenosis and arthritis and all this stuff going on while also not being able to move. So she's locked in a chair all day, a lot of pain, a lot of inflammation, things like that. So we would, rub this on her back and her knees and her ankle and her shoulder and all this stuff, and it would relax it for her. It takes the edge off. So we started making those products, and I'm going to go back to this site here. Actually, you know what I want to do real quick? I want to show this because a lot of people, I think, they're not educated in THC or even marijuana products. This chart, I know it's probably very hard to see, but it's a circle that goes around the cannabinoids of a cannabis plant. Okay. And each one of these cannabinoids works on different ailments like anxiety, appetite, seizures, anti-inflammatory, inhibits tumor cell growth, increases appetite, blood sugar, antidepressant, antibacterial, antifungal, aids sleep. So with a broad spectrum, which is what Marla has in her gummies, and really all of our products, we use a broad spectrum because when you mix the cannabinoids together, you're getting multiple cannabinoids working on the same ailments. You could have CBD that works on it, yeah, but if you add CBG to it, that also adds a different element of, I don't want to say recovery, but relief.
Yeah.
So CBD and CBG together, let me find one that right here, muscle relaxant. It also inhibits tumor cell growth. You hear a lot of people using that for cancer diagnosis.
Absolutely.
People use THC and things like that. Anti-inflammatory, CBD and CBG work together with that. CBDA, there was a huge study out of Oregon State University on CBDA that was kind of covered up. I mean, you can still find it online, but they were saying that CBD, as a cannabinoid by itself, worked much like the COVID vaccine and blocking the mRNA.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can people get that chart on your website?
No, not this one. We're actually having one developed because we can't use this one because it's not property of ours to put on the website. So we're developing our own basic, chart like this that shows that. But when you go to the website, you can actually see the different things that the products can help with. Like you go to the shop. But what we're going to do for Cancel This, if you go there and shop and use the coupon code, just cancel this one word. You're going to get 10% off anything you order.
Dude, I'm going to be paying for the damn show for the next month.
So some of the products she has is,
I'll be on this.
Call me for those special ones there, Eric.
Scotty, that is so incredibly fantastic. And I already knew you guys had the line. I love the packaging.
Oh,
the
thank
packaging
you.
is
it's
beautiful.
Marla's signature, actually. That
I
was
love
kind
it.
of the whole thing behind. We kind of went like when we were designing it, we were like the Paul Mitchell thing. Like it's like we like her name fits Marla Jean, like it just kind of works.
Yeah,
and her signature is kind of cool. So
I love it.
And what's so
And I
cool
love the
about this, here's what's so cool, is I see a lot of CBD type products online, and they're kind of that kind of clickbait kind of advertising, and that they all come from China. Or it'll take you 1,000,000 years to get the damn product, and it might not even have CBD in it. With this,
St. Charles County, right?
Yes, with this, it's like in your backyard, or if you're away from St. Charles, at least it's within a few hundred miles of you.
Website name?
It's awesome.
MarlaJean420.com.
Goodbye, Marla Jean.
So here, real quick, I'll show you a picture of Marla. This was our first field of
dreams
cannabis that we grew. You can see Marla standing in front of the plants, and those plants got to be about 10 feet tall. They were massive.
They used one of them as a Christmas tree.
So we would take all this flour off of here and process it into isolates that help make our first batch of products.
That's awesome.
I know, that's absolutely fantastic.
I say we have a kegger there this weekend.
You know what? We're talking about doing a Harvest Moon Festival every year. So in October when we harvest, we're just going to have a big party.
What a great time to do it.
Can you infuse CBD or THC into beer?
Yes. Yeah, they have
They're-
water soluble products.
I'm so involved right now.
We've got a guy that's going to be coming on the show. He works out of this facility, Eric, that has a drink coming to market that is apparently going to blow the country away.
I'm ready to be blown away.
And by the way, I've used the non-THC CBD lotion, and I am convinced it's the best.
I've heard it's
you put the lotion on the skin.
Yes, and they've got stuff for your face.
So yeah, a lot of this Marla stuff is really topical.
Eric, I can't explain it. I just know that the stuff works.
Now, I did see my brother take a gummy and smash into a tree skiing one time. It's pretty bad, right?
No, that's probably a THC gummy, and he probably took too much.
Yeah, this
Wait a
is
minute.
CBD.
For me,
He pulled a Sonny Bono. Huh?
For me, it was awesome.
Yeah,
for him,
it was great entertainment.
Does
right?
it get rid of wrinkles? That's what I
Yes,
wanna
actually,
know.
because of the anti-inflammatory effects of like CBD and CBG together. Like she has an eye cream that does that, and it's not a tightener, like it doesn't have the retinol in
but
it.
it makes
It's very
sense,
natural.
'cause
I've used some of the stuff. It's not like Dysport.
Well, I
that
know,
we
but
get
a
at
lot of
Aesthetica, but it helps.
a lot of people don't understand that a lot of the wrinkle on your face is inflammation.
Yes.
And when you take away the inflammation, the lines and wrinkles go away.
Absolutely.
Not always.
Interesting.
Yeah,
But
so you
that
don't
does
need
happen
the
a lot.
chemicals necessarily. You can get by with natural
Right.
products.
Is there anything it doesn't fix?
Again, you're not really allowed to say that it'll heal anything.
No,
it's
you're
not. I mean, that's just the way that.
Well, can't they have can't they? And I'm sure you'll provide it, but don't they have a website where it's like, we're not marketing anything, but here's what it does.
Oh yeah, well that chart alone shows you kind of some of the ailments. But your doctor would never prescribe that to you because you have a sore elbow.
Yes.
So the ingestible, obviously if you have something serious going on the inside, a topical may not be potent enough, or it ain't going to reach it because it's it's a transdermal application. So like the eye cream works really well for your eyes. You can actually use it on your whole face, but she also has a infinite moisturizing serum, which will do the same thing.
Awesome.
And you can, hands, face, that's a lotion more like what Vic was talking about.
Yeah, the lotion, and it was given to me. I did a story on a company a couple of years ago.
It's amazing.
And I was like, I was never a lotion guy.
Right.
And I started using some stuff. I was like, damn.
I have tennis elbow real bad. I get it. It comes back constantly. So we did a muscle gel that's got like the capsaicin in it, the capsicum and like the peppers and all that. And it's like a icy hot feeling. And that stuff is phenomenal. That's our newest product.
That's what I need.
It is badass.
What?
It is badass.
I want that.
So
I take it
people are
by pill.
already
I need a
ordering your product, Scotty.
They said so, huh?
Yeah, yep. And people check it out. He just gave you the website.
And anything they buy helps the show as well.
Yep.
Is there anything for energy?
We're doing a rev share with the show. So
anything for
CBD.
energy?
CBG is the energy cannabinoid. If you take something with a broad spectrum that's CBD, it can give you energy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more of a up type feeling. It's not really. I don't want to say that because people are like, "Oh, then I feel hot." No.
Yeah.
You just.
It's weird to talk between those lines.
It's not like maybe I wouldn't even say it's as effective as an energy drink. It's just a natural.
Right. Which is sometimes what you want.
Yeah.
You don't want that crazy dumbass thing where your heart feels like it's going to pop out of your body.
You're not going to get that on CBD or CBG. You're not really going to, I would say like you took it and go, wow, I feel different.
Yeah.
You're just going to notice throughout the day that maybe you're less anxious or you're just more calm or you're more, your elbow doesn't hurt as bad or you're just moving, freer, that kind of thing.
Do you have an edible? I know you said.
Yeah, we have two gummies.
Okay.
We have a CBD and a CBN. And then she's also making, we're ordering gummies that have THC in them that they'll be less than 0.3. So they'll be like 10 milligrams.
Because I know someone who suffers from nausea and they vomit a lot. And when they take a CBD gummy, not THC, but CBD, it keeps them from having nausea.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You can do like anti-nausea. Absolutely.
I don't know if this is a thing or not, but Don asks, is it fragrance free? What is that? Do they spray it with a...
The muscle gel is, it's got a little bit of a fragrance because of the capsicum and things like that, but it doesn't really have a fragrance. The lotion is a lavender fragrance.
Nice.
The bath bomb it smells awesome. Like I've never used a bath bomb before, and I've tried this, and I got out of that bathtub, and they recommend you jump in the shower just to rinse off the toxins that pull from your body.
What?
Yeah. So you get out of the tub, you take
that.
a shower, you rinse off, and I laid in bed, and I swear I was so relaxed. I haven't been that relaxed my entire
Do you do
life.
that every week, every night?
I
every
should.
month?
I've only done it once, and it was probably the most relaxed I've ever been.
Yeah.
Like, it was amazing.
And that's
it
just
was
a bath bomb.
absolutely amazing.
Well,
That's
we
just a bath bomb.
Well, dude, we appreciate you getting that out to people to check it out. Made sense. We could do a little bit of it today. So check out the website, guys. We appreciate it, Scott, and letting us know.
Absolutely.
So
Thank you for letting me
what's
share.
the goal for 420 tonight? Anybody doing anything?
I'm working.
I know there's something going on in Diamond.
Diamond Music Hall has a 420 fest going on.
Let's
with
go
a bunch
to
of
Diamond.
vendors and stuff there.
I mean, I'm not bougie enough. These guys might not show up, but I'll go to Diamond right now. Let's
What's wrong
go.
with that? I'll try to get by tonight.
Yeah, we can just hit
Marla's
snap.
actually setting up a table there with her products today.
Oh, so
Yeah.
people can go there tonight.
Yeah.
To Diamond Music
There's a bunch.
Hall.
They're playing Cheech and Chong movies on the big
I might
screen.
go. Eric, I got to take
And
it
then they
easy.
got a
I
bunch
gotta-
of vendors and
You gotta
some
take what
like
easy?
bands
Well, we got a
playing.
big
But that's
party
great
tomorrow
because
night,
people
too.
are so interested they can just go and buy it.
Yeah.
And not have to order it online.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Marla's pretty quick. I mean, it'll be there in
Look
2-3 days.
Vic is pacing himself over here.
What do you say?
I got a big night tomorrow night. too.
We got a big party tomorrow night, guys.
It's his birthday.
We can carry it over.
Yeah.
There's no hangovers with marijuana, man.
I had a party last night.
That's
Like,
funny.
damn, this whole new life.
Come on, man.
It's too many damn parties. I used to work late at night all the time. Now I just go to parties.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good for your soul.
Enjoy the
Hey,
life.
guys, tomorrow it's our Free for All Paranormal Friday. Alex is working on some guests. Alex from our marketing company will keep you posted. We'll post it tonight. We'll let you know what we have for our Free for All Paranormal Friday. Thanks for watching and listening to cancelthisshow.com. We'll continue to do what we do. Scotty Gherkin, Lizzie Sparks, Eric Johnson. Did you have something to say, Tabitha?
No.
This is the first time.
Be safe from the storms. That's all I've got to say.
Oh my God.
The storms are coming.
That's the grandma coming on her again. She's always like, "Whoa, that looks like a
She's
storm
gonna
is coming."
NFT this thing
I'm
today.
scared of storms.
There you
She'll
go.
be selling the storm in
And
about
I'm
20
Vic
minutes.
Faust. Guys, have an awesome day. We'll talk to you later.